Ritual magic, the ultimate equalizer of the wizarding world. If you are a king or emperor like Emperor Jerknivrun Farlord Elnix of the Buraruth Empire, ritual magic becomes a very vital component of keeping track of the magical society of yours under control. The reason for this is that rituals require groups of people to accomplish a task, or cast a powerful spell outside of most mages' reach. In turn, this can be used as a political tool, as to sustain control of your mages, as well as encourage your powerful mages, who being hyper-intellects, probably naturally would spend very little time on developing the mages coming after them. Even if you are a teacher who is paid to teach students to cast spells, there is still a very limiting reason for a teacher to be a good one. Let me put it in terms we can more relate to. If you ever had a professor who had worked on his own research and studies, but had to teach students for a certain number of hours required by the school, many times they would not be the best teachers or professors, going as far as to say just the basics, and giving tests. This leaves a major gap in magical ability, of those with talent and those without. This aspect in the magical world of the Overlord can be traversed with rituals. Having rituals can be used in communal with others as to achieve one tier above of what you would naturally be able to. This means that a magical feat create wood golem, which is stated requires a few high-level mages for a year to accomplish this great feat, working on the assumption that a high-level mage is a third-tier mage in the Empire, could be done with a few second-tier students, aided by first-tier students. This comes to the reason of why ritual magic is called the ultimate equalizer of the wizarding world by myself. Reaching the third tier in magic, for a wizard, can take a very long time for a normal person with an affinity to it, but with no talent. In turn, you could say their usefulness is very limited also, as a mage destined for the third tier may take 10 to 30 years perhaps to achieve this goal, and that is not stating the fact that once a mage has achieved this rank, they must still begin to learn the spells of this tier, taking even more years before they can utilize the third tier, even though they are a third tier already. In turn, a person who is second tier, and destined to be third tier, is encouraged to teach his students to aid him in ritual magic, as to perform third tier ritual spells, and allow him to begin studying a spell of a higher tier, before he reaches the ability to cast so without a group of mages. Thus, ritual magic in conclusion creates a need for mages on every tier, even of the first tiers is the most vital part of ritual magic. As by creating a value of magic on any tier of the spectrum, results in financial availability to those below you, which finances them to have a good life, and to finance the furthering of their education. By creating a value, it allows for a much easier task of financing the education of mages, and offsets the cost of doing so. The best example of this I can give is the young mage Archie, who had due to financial difficulties had to cease studying in Flutter's Academy to support her family, but if you had a heavier focus on ritual magic, her ability as a third-tier mage would land her a good job she could do on the side, perhaps helping her professor in fourth-tier rituals, would allow for her, as well as all other students, to aid in rituals, and support themselves financially, though since she was the child of nobles who had spent an unimaginable amount of money, believed to be 350 gold, there still shows that as a third-tier mage she would have in a ritual magic, be valued enough to support her financially for the work she could do. The reason I say this, is not that the government should be able to pay whatever price for the mage's work, but that with ritual magic, the person's value would naturally be more valuable, and thus they would be profitable enough to support such a expense. In short, ritual magic would not only work as a tool as to conduct spell, but also as a financial system, as to support and sustain mages financially, and result in an empire like Buraruth to rapidly increase in its magical talent, because as a person without magic or affinity can spend a vast quantity of time to become a first-tier mage, it would not be financially worth it or viable, but with ritual magic, there would develop a demand for this mages, and while before their demand was low, which did not pay off for a normal person studying so many years to learn first-tier magic, would all of a sudden become a very viable option For the normal person, as even if you capped out in the first tier, you could serve to aid each other to cast a second tier spell, and as we know it. In turn, such a rapid expansion in magical knowledge would, I believe, bring out many talented individuals of magic. The empire would naturally miss, without a rapid number of people studying magic, even with Master Flutter's eyes. This is why I think, ritual magic, is the ultimate equalizer of the wizarding world.